Hey, I'm TheLoopyAlchemist, and welcome back to Let's Play Skyrim. Alright, well, this is actually my second time doing the commentary for this video. That's why it's up even later than usual, because tried it once, and for whatever reason, my computer didn't save it, so let's try this again. This time we are in Bleak Falls Barrow, I believe. Last time we were just in Bleak Falls Temple, which is the upper level of this thing, but either way, same place, just whatever. Anyways, for those of you wondering on how the lore episode is coming along, I'm done the script, so hopefully it shouldn't be too much longer now. I'm not sure if I already addressed this in a previous video, or, a previous part of this LP, or if it was in the part that, I accidentally deleted somehow or whatever. But why would you keep a bunch of, flammable stuff, hanging around in your crypts? Again, I kind of previously noted, well, if there actually is another part where I talked about this, and if there is, I'll feel really stupid. Maybe it's like a drugger defense system, but, to stop them from getting out. But there's actually a book or a scroll or something written down, I believe in the, cave where you get the ghost blade, that actually it explains, or it might actually be in the Dragonborn DLC, that the Drugger need to be within their crypts and feed off the energy of a dragon priest somehow, but yeah, that might just apply to that specific dungeon. So, yeah, that's kind of interesting, but anyways, we have arrived, ladies and gentlemen, so we are going to pull out that golden claw we found earlier, just get a good look at the symbols on that, and we are going to use it to get into the underground vault and get that DragonStone that jerk of a wizard wanted us to get. Okay. Now, I'm sure if you know about me, you're probably into the Elder Scrolls, and if that is the case, you have probably made it through this first dungeon. So instead of talking about this, I'm just going to talk about Akavir, because let's face it, that's a lot more interesting than what I'm doing right now. But I will say that when you first get in here, the setting is just phenomenal, seeing the light come down and everything. You'll see what I mean in a sec, just how amazing this is for the setting to find kind of your first dragon word, well, shout and everything. Again, Skyrim, it's so atmospheric, and a lot of the stuff is so picturesque, it would make a great movie, but I've already kind of talked about that in another video, how if they do make, just beautiful, but if they do make a Skyrim movie, I think they should do the Orthodox version of Tiber Septim, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about it, go watch the video. And chances are, you still won't have any idea what I'm talking about it, but if you ever get into a conversation about it, you'll be able to fake your way through it. Okay, that makes no sense. But anyways, so on to Akavir. We have three main sources. Akavir, Disaster at Ionith, which is probably my favorite book in the entire Elder Scrolls series. Mysterious Akavir, and there might be a few others. There's a couple scraps of paper we have, in Oblivion that talk about it during the entire quest to get some Akaviri jewelry from forts in the Pale Pass, where the second Akaviri invasion occurred. But the only other one that I know of, well, off the top of my head, is Children of the Sky, that states that Akaviri swordsmen have a power like the Thu'um called the Ki. But that's about it. So the two main books report Disaster at Ionith. It only talks about the invasion of Uriel Septim the Fifth, and we get basically, that is a sweet kill, basically no information about the actual continent itself. In Mysterious Akavir, we don't even have an author, I think, let alone a publishing date. So a lot of people have called into question just how accurate the info in there is, but I don't know, we've got basically nothing else to go on, so we kind of have to, that's as good as it gets. But a lot of people in the lore community, myself included, kind of take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but I wouldn't disregard it entirely. There's some good stuff in there. Also, it states that in the 36 lessons of Vivek, that Vivek and Lord Nervarar, the guy you're playing as a reincarnation of, the Nervarine and Morrowind. It states that they went there for sword training, but it actually states that they went to Atmora as well, which is kind of cool, but yeah, beyond that, we've got basically nothing. So, the main thing I'm going to talk about is if there's report of disaster at Ionith that talks about the invasion in this much detail, well, why didn't the Septim Empire send like a couple scholars, scientists, like what would the Elder Scrolls equivalent of that be? Alchemists, I guess. Scholars and just like a bunch of other academics over to Akavir to study the place, especially if, as we've seen in Oblivion, there is a big demand for Akaviri artifacts. Granted, that is well after the fact, but still. My basic answer to that would be they probably did send a bunch of people over to start looking at Akavir and all that stuff, but there's actually a really good in-game explanation that I'd kind of use to why we don't have any artifacts or writings coming back. So the basic invasion of Akavir, the timeline, I made a video on it a long time ago, but it's one of the earliest ones I'd consider good, where I actually have my intro and everything, and the audio isn't complete garbage. Also, I'm not coughing the whole time during it. Yeah, I made that first video when I was sick. Actually, first two, because the Great War is pretty bad for that. But anyways, back on topic. So they get there. They found Septemia and Ionith, build a road in between them, and build a couple outer forts as well. So then winter happens, the campaigning season's done, so Uriel Septim's the 5th advisors actually want to get him back to Black Harbor, which is on this island. I forget what it is. It has a specific name, but it's basically halfway in between Akavir and Tamriel. But he decides to stay in Akavir because he figures they need a good commander there. And I can't stress this enough, Uriel Septim the 5th is in no way an incompetent commander. He's probably the greatest general in Tamrielic history, aside from Tiber Septim himself. Also, another thing I need to mention is that another reason why I think they'd have all these scholarly people heading over to Akavir with them is because it's probably the biggest invasion force or even military assembled in all of Tamrielic history, which is saying a lot considering all the wars that have been fought over the years. So, what I was going back to previously with the whole them wanting Uriel Septim to head over to Black Harbor, he decides to stay there, and actually proves to be a very good thing, because most of the fleet that actually heads back to Black Harbor ends up sinking due to a ferocious storm. And I'm thinking all the writings and artifacts and all the other stuff you'd want to take over from Akavir probably went down on those supply ships. Now, why anything else didn't come back? Well, that's when everything really starts to go to hell during the, I guess, summer of that year, where we first get the assassination attempt on Uriel Septim the 5th, and then he ends up actually winning a battle against the Tzeki, or Shaky, or however people want me to pronounce it, and honestly, I'm just going to stick with Tzeki because I haven't heard an official in-game pronunciation, and until I hear one of those, I'm just going to stick with whatever I've been using for the past, I guess, however long I've been doing this. It's been like a year now. So he wins a battle, heads back to Ionith. He actually gets besieged in there with his forces. He ends up breaking out, but it's actually on the march back to Septemia is when he gets surrounded, and his forces are completely wiped out, except for 2 legionnaires who end up escaping back to Septemia. Now, the mages have kind of like, I guess, a version of GoToMeeting, where they can communicate telepathically. So they'd actually communicated, actually no, it wasn't them, it was just the counselors and, no, I misspoke, it was the counselors back in Black Harbor, just gave the order for the remaining ships to sail back to Akavir regardless of bad weather. So anyways, when these ships get to Akavir, they find the garrison at Septemia under savage assault from the Tzeki. Now, the reinforcements that those ships were carrying from Black Harbor, they managed to drag off to beat off... oh, that would sound bad. They managed to repulse the Akviri invaders, and we actually see in the quest Rising in the East just how much damage Tamrielic ships can do. Like, we don't exactly see if it's magic or a type of catapult, but they're flinging some pretty intense fireballs, so they're probably using a lot of those. And the fleet that Yolos up in the 5th assembled to invade Akvir is actually the largest one in Tamrielic history. It's actually stated, I think, in the disaster at Ionith, but don't quote me on that, because it's been a while since I've read it. But at any rate, it's like all Flag's Navy size. It is just huge. So even despite a good chunk of it being sank by the storm, it was still pretty big. So anyways, yeah, they basically managed to drive the Tazeki off for long enough to grab all the survivors in Septemia, which is mostly military, but they actually did ferry over a few colonists during the brief period where there was actually the province of Akavir that they'd established and everything for like the 2 years they had it, maybe. Actually, I think it was just 1 year, but whatever. So yeah, in between the one fleet sinking and them just grabbing everyone in the city, getting them onto the ships, and getting the heck out of there, that's probably why we don't have that much info. Alright, so back to what I'm doing right now, which is, I guess, just things really haven't gotten going yet, so I'm just running errands. And why is this guy such a jerk to me? Yeah, when I become Archmage of the College of Winterhold, I'm gonna write you a sternly worded letter or something. But anyways, basically I gave him the Dragonstone, and we've got some mysterious lady over there who I'm probably going to end up killing after she wants me to kill Parthenax, because screw you, I'd take Parthenax over the Blades any day. And what is this? Ah, there is something going on right now. Okay, why is everyone all up in arms all of a sudden? I'm sure a dragon isn't attacking or anything, or... Oh, right. Well, actually, I don't technically know that, so... Yeah. Alright. You know, in terms of just exactly what hold I'd like to live in Skyrim, I think I don't know, I like Whiterun, but I might want to be in Solitude just because, I don't know, more cosmopolitan because it's the main city of the Empire. But main city, yeah, I guess it's the capital and everything. Although that might not be such a good idea with the Civil War going on right now, but honestly, my money would be on the Imperial Legion just because they're better equipped. Yeah. So basically, this dragon is attacking one of the watchtowers outside of town, and it is my job to go do something about it. I should start like my own exterminator business or something. And I like his maps he has up there. If you've got the special edition of Skyrim, like the one that came with the giant statue of Alduin and the art book, you actually get this really nice map of Skyrim as well. Like, that map just came with the regular game as well, but this one, it's like parchment, and it even feels kind of oily and everything, and it's just really, really cool. The maps in the Elder Scrolls Online that, I know, I'll get around to reviewing that eventually, but they're just like the ones that came in the regular edition of Skyrim. They're still really nice maps, but would have liked that degree of authenticity. But oh well, still cool. But anyways, I'm TheLoopyAlchemist. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.